everyone to this very unique special event, and it's the first film festival that Hare Krishnas have ever had in the entire Kali Yuga and any other Yuga. So I want to say, first of all, that Lord Nityananda has kindly appeared in a very special form. These are the Nitya Awards and the Nityananda Awards. And this is our version of the Oscar. We want to spiritualize everything. We want to take that principle of Yukta Vairagya and utilize everything in Krishna's service. We'll be giving out 9 of these awards tonight. Over $5,000 in cash money, given by some very generous donors who will be recognized a little later in this program. And we're going to be recognizing devotees who've spent a lot of time and energy and effort in front of their computers, with their cameras, shooting Harinams, documentaries, little dramas. You're going to see things tonight on this screen that, were you not here tonight, you may have never been aware of. It's going on all around the world. It's really a very special, unique opportunity, and I'm glad to see that you have all come to witness it, because what you're going to get out of it perhaps is a bit of inspiration to do some work yourself. And I know that Prabhupada, to whom we all owe a debt of an endless proportions, giving us the opportunity to utilize our various propensities in Krishna consciousness, was very encouraging to the idea of making movies in Krishna consciousness. And he encouraged our dear God brother and God sister Yadavar Prabhu and Vishaka Devi Dasi. He funded their first movie from BBT funds, and he even told Yadavar that the preaching from the Hare Krishna People film that was done in the early 70s was more preaching than all of his other disciples had done together until that time. Prabhupada was so happy with this kind of work. So our goal tonight is to recognize those who have made an effort in this field, not only to recognize them, to reward them, and reward them practically with cash so they can use it to fund more projects. And we don't have a big jackpot tonight, but we hope to increase that in future festivals, increase the amounts. And we also want to be able to tell you that the judging of this event was actually not done by ISKCON devotees, and I'll tell you why. It's because we want it to be a completely non-political event based on a person's achievements in their quality and in their, just like we are qualified by, not by birth, but by how we actually act in our life. So similarly, these people were objective, they were in the field. I did not know the results of this judging until a FedEx arrived in Purnananda's office and just about 4 days ago. And so I was as equally surprised at that time as you will be tonight. I say this because I don't want anybody to hate me after this thing or shun me, because only a few people can get the top awards. It's not a cheap thing. Competition breeds excellence. Prabhupada had us very much in competitive spirit on book distribution, and we're bringing that to this arena of motion picture production. I just can't do this alone. It's just way beyond my capacity to stand up here and be able to address the 1,000 or so devotees that are in this room and those that will be seeing this on our podcast, which we will put on our site in April and make available to all the Vaishnavas all over the world. But I've been very blessed, and I want you to please give a very big Vaishnav Haribol welcome to my co-host, His Grace Pragosh Prabhu. Please, Pragosh, please come with us.
I'd just like to say a big thank you to Nrsimhananda Prabhu. I'm very honored to be here tonight to partake in this historic occasion of the first film night in ISKCON's history. Thank you very much.
I love you so much. I was thinking about you before I came to India, and I did a little research in our ITV archives, and I did dig up an ancient clip that I thought maybe we might be of interest kind of before we launch into tonight's program. What do you think? Do you think we should?
Why is it that I suddenly feel very, very nervous and scared digging around in archives?
Yeah, it could be scary, but let's just go along with the crowd. The devotees would like to see it. Can we please have the lights down and just dig up this thing that we put in there? Thank you very much. Lights off, please.
This is Pragosh, formerly Paul Murphy from Donecarney in Dublin. It was the Hare Krishna philosophy that appealed to him. He married a woman from Andersonstown in Belfast, now Galoka. She was known as Nicola Dalton. They were the first to move out of the monastic setting into the country.
The basis of the marriage is a spiritual basis. So when we enter marriage, we both know that it is for life and there will never be any separation.
For if you like, frivolous sexual activity. But for raising children in God consciousness, then that's a very acceptable.
Well, you know, it's interesting. It was interesting. We see that actually you were one of the first kind of to leave the monastic life and head out to the country. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think I did that to grow my hair.
Now, the marriage, how's that going?
21 years and counting, but I think my wife is looking forward to Vanaprasth.
Well, you know, that's an achievement of, you know, really biblical, or we would say Vedic proportions, I guess. And it's really a great achievement and example. And I know Golok, and she's certainly an exemplar of patience and tolerance, no question about it.
I have to agree with that, but I think that she learned much of her tolerance from me.
Well, you know, Prabhupada did note that behind every great man there's a great woman. So it is with great pleasure that I would like to introduce and invite Goloka Devidasi onto the stage. She is the backbone of both Govinda's restaurants in Dublin, and she's raised two beautiful boys. Golok, please join us on stage wherever you are. Where are you? You know, there's a great power in motion pictures in holding us to our choices and making us accountable.
Yes, I think I've just had a personal experience of that.
Well, it's because cinema can you know, catch us in the middle of an experience and just not let us go. It's just there for all time.
Yeah. Perhaps we should require a videotaping at all initiations.
That would probably be that. What do you think? Do you think we all initiate and we'll hold everybody to all their promises? What do you think? A lot of no's out there. Now, Pragosh, we're very fortunate that you are going to tell us a little bit about how you think films have become.
Yeah, I think films have become such an important element of communication that businesses, including the business of preaching, has embraced its ability to communicate a message very quickly and effectively.
Well, that's true, and movies are like live books. Did you know that 80% of the movies made in Hollywood are based on books? And, you know, devotees, of course, are not interested. We're not interested in mundane movies, though we do know that Srila Prabhupada did enjoy some Charlie Chaplin films. And I remember that when that Prabhupada said became known, all the devotees scrambled to find some place that they could find a Charlie Chaplin film where it was being shown. Remember that was that.
It's kind of like when the devotees found out that Prabhupada drank 7-Up. Next thing, the 7-Up was appearing in the deity cups in the altar. I even think they sell it here in the Mayapur Govindas.
It does seem to be moving in that direction, and I'm beseeching some of the managers here to kind of push it back. But it's sometimes unavoidable for us to, you know, not confront the contemporary culture. Like, for instance, when you're on a plane, you're forced to watch a movie.
Forced?
Well, you know,
Forced?
yeah, I mean, it's true. You can't sleep, you know, and you finish 64 rounds already, right? And you have like 9 more hours in the flight, right? And you've read, you know, one of those small books, you know, like Matchless Gifts or Nectar of Instruction, the ones that are light, you can just, you know, carry in your hand baggage. You've got that read like 15 times already, and you can't look left, you can't look right, because you're like in a movie made for, you know, a toddler or, you know, or a pygmy. I mean, it's forced. Yeah, I think it's forced. I just asked a cross section of some very hardcore Sankirtan devotees what movies they've seen. I went over to Govinda's restaurant. I took out my notebook, and I promised, that I wouldn't say anything, and I got a very interesting list.
Ooh. You're not going to name those devotees. Did you say hardcore Sankirtan devotees?
Well,
Well, no, I'm just saying, you better not name them, because if you ever want them to distribute your ITV productions, I don't think they'll do it if you actually name them.
No, I promised strict anonymity. Actually, they wouldn't even talk to me unless I did, and I had to actually do that to a picture of Prabhupada on a book that they were trying to distribute right here in Mayapur. So, but here's my notes, and I just wanted, and the real notes, this really happened, and I found that the highest named film was Lord of the Rings. Why do you think that's so?
Well, I can't comment because I've never seen it. But my children have, and they forced me to watch it. Maybe it's got something to do, that I read the book before I became a devotee. maybe it's because isn't it a quest for the ring? What's his name? Pluto? Not Pluto. Frodo. Frodo, isn't he? He was in The Hobbit also. But anyway, he was on a quest to get the ring, right? So it's like you could equate the ring for something like Krishna Prema, Krishna Bhakti. So maybe it's there's a connection like that.
That's fascinating. It's a great rationalization. But how do you figure this? Ready? How do you figure in then that Shrek came in second?
Well, that's obvious, isn't it? That's like, a film about brahmacharis looking for the perfect wife.
Next on my list was, of all-time favorites, was The Matrix. You know The Matrix? We're not supposed to have seen these things.
It's amazing. Again, I haven't seen it, promise. But I hear it's quite good. It was even in Yadunnath Prabhu's little comedy sketch the other day, that what's the secret of the Vedas or something, and the answer was The Matrix.
Wait a minute, how can it be good? How can it be good at all? Krishna's not in it, as far as I know.
No. That's a neophyte's perspective. When somebody's Krishna conscious, they see Krishna everywhere.
Well, obviously you're more advanced than I am. We do have a terrific lineup of transcendental clips from all of our nominees, Krishna conscious clips, I might add. And we got productions I never knew existed until they actually ended up when I announced this competition some weeks and months later in my ITV mailbox. So we're establishing this Nrsimhananda Award, and it's given to those who have found to have excelled in Krishna conscious film or video production. Now, you may ask, why did we choose Nrsimhananda, Lord Nrsimhananda? Well, Sri Nrsimhananda Prabhu was chosen as the symbol because he's famous for his love of dance, his love of drama, and all the creative arts. And these murtis that we've cast here were done from an original artwork beautifully crafted by Adideva and Siladisha Devi Dasi, who served with the Fate Studios for many years, and they were cast right in Navadvip and finished right here in Mayapur.
Well, I think you'll all agree that they look absolutely wonderful, stunning statuettes of Lord Nrsimhananda. Nrsimhananda Prabhu, before we show the new stuff, I think it would be a nice idea to reflect on where this whole idea came from. You said at the beginning that Srila Prabhupada was very encouraging to devotees to get into using the medium of film to promote Krishna consciousness and to preach Krishna consciousness. So, so let's take a walk back in time and see a sample, a retrospective sample of all the early films that set the standard and gave so much pleasure to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Lights off, please.
After this offering, the food is called prasadam, which literally means the Lord's mercy. Every Sunday at New Vrindavan, as in all the other temples in the Hare Krishna movement, a feast is held and guests are invited to participate.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
From high in the snowy Himalayas, the sacred river Ganges flows across the plains of India for 1,600 miles before it reaches Mayapur in Navadvip, West Bengal. In this holy land is a temple that marks the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya. Today, pilgrims journey to Mayapur annually to celebrate the anniversary of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. They know of Lord Chaitanya as the boy genius who casually defeated the greatest scholars, the young revolutionary who organized India's first civil disobedience movement, the social reformer who transcended the rigid Hindu caste system, the supreme renouncer to whom common people, religious leaders, and even kings bowed. And above all, they know of Sri Chaitanya as the perfect devotee who blessed the world with Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names of God. Pilgrims bathe in the sanctified waters of the Yamuna River, which borders Vrindavan on 3 sides. This branch of the Ganges is considered the holiest of all holy rivers because it once washed Krishna's transcendental body. Through the ages, millions of Krishna's devotees have worshipped this sacred land. Vrindavan's oldest temple, Madan Mohan, was built in the 16th century. It overlooks the 6-mile path that encompasses the town.
Supreme Lord, He is omnipotent, omniscient. He knows everything. But the living being does not know actually what is the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and ordinary living being.
Now we will follow one verse as it journeys from translation by Srila Prabhupada through the process of book publication to its distribution around the world.
So I would like to invite His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj to present the Lifetime Achievement Award here in the first Vaisnava Film Video Festival.
It's hard to say a few words about the two people who have been so steady in their service to Srila Prabhupada over 36 years. They are both ideal examples of the Grihastha ashram, and they're beloved by their god brothers and god sisters. Please honor with me Yadubara and Visakha Devi Dasi. Actually, we in India have used Yadubara and Visakha's films as in Bangladesh and Nepal and all over Southern Asia as the backbones of our preaching. In fact, the only thing that we had to complain about is that we haven't seen one in the past couple of years recently. But even someone had a dream where Prabhupada came in the dream and said, if you simply can show Yadubara's films for the preaching, it is considered a success.
Haribo!
For Lifetime Achievement Award, there's a $2,000 donation.
Haribo!
Hope that'll go as seed money for the next production. And here's Nityananda Awards.
Haribo! Yadubar Vishaka Ki!
I'd like to request Yadubar and Visakha Devi Dasi to say a few words, please.
Truly, thank you so much. I'm totally overwhelmed. I didn't expect anything like this. Thank you, Nrsimhananda Prabhu. Nrsimhananda Prabhu, thank you very much for organizing this wonderful occasion. As far as lifetime achievement, I actually consider the first 25 years of my life wasted. So I'm not sure how that applies. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada did encourage us in the beginning by giving us seed money for our first film called The Hare Krishna People, which was released in 1974. Every time Srila Prabhupada would sit at a pandal and we show the film, I was totally surprised that he never got up and left. He sat through probably 50 showings of the Hare Krishna People. So actually, I really personally can't take much credit for what I've so-called done. But I've seen time and time again that it is actually by Krishna's arrangement these things are going on. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that he guides us through, he guides the living entities through their wanderings in the material universe. But Krishna is truly our guide. It is not an accident that out of hundreds of agencies in New York and thousands of photographers, the editor of Asia magazine in 1970 chose my photographs and called me up and asked me to do the first an article for their magazine on the devotees, and that's how I was introduced. So nothing is an accident, all is higher arrangement, and so we simply need, as was so nicely given in the class the other day, orient our desires to become Krishna conscious, and Krishna will guide us. We have to have firm faith in that. Thank you so much.
Haribo!
A few days ago when I heard that we were going to be honored by this Lifetime Achievement Award, I was amazed. And my first thought was, what have I achieved that I should be honored in this way? And unfortunately, I don't think I have achieved anything. But there's no way that we can refuse this because it's being offered by the wonderful Vaishnavas. So my prayer and my hope against hope is that between now and the time I pass away, I will achieve something. That's my prayer. And I want to especially honor and recognize my good husband and Nrsimhananda for making an effort to include the ladies. In a society, no one should be neglected. Neither the ladies, nor the children, nor the youth, nor the old people. And sometimes, unfortunately, ladies are neglected. So I want to especially honor Nrsimhananda Prabhu and my husband both for always encouraging the ladies and recognizing whatever little bit they do to push on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your encouragement over the years.
Очень круто ты попал. Ты звезда,
But Srila Prabhupada did count every paisa, and it is our tradition to be accountable for every last cent. And I want you to remember that.
I'll try.
Now, speaking of money, I wanted to thank right now our sponsors who've been very generous and very courageous for funding a completely new and unproven, and it's still unproven until we finish the night, unproven event. And I just I hope we can.
Well, yeah. You hope that we don't prove them wrong.
Exactly. These are in alphabetical order our donors that have made the prize money possible, and I think that in one sense we're already successful. Just the fact that so many devotees actually sent in entries. There were, believe it or not, and this is a lot considering the status of our society, 37 entries of completed films. Didn't get, and I even got a couple here. People thought, we're so together that they could probably, give us some entries right here and we'd accept them. But actually, these were all judged while I was here, and we weren't able to. But it was really enlivening to see it. The donors are really anxious to support these attempts, and we're indebted to their pioneering spirit. Of course, we're limited by the Lakshmi that we get to make awards. So hopefully in the years to come, we'll be able to give out much more than this year's 5,000 plus. Tonight, the Best Picture Award, and everyone should know that in those envelopes that are going to be opened up tonight after we have the presenters come up and after the clips are shown, there's going to be $1,000 in that envelope for the winner of the Best Picture, and there's going to be $500 in the envelopes for the other categories. We wish it could be 5,000 or even 50,000, but it's a start. And we have our very, very generous donors. And please look at these names. I'm going to read them off. There's the BBT in Mumbai. There's His Holiness Giriraj Swami. There's my dear friend, Gary David Goodman. There's the ISKCON Mayapur that has given us so much facility. There's ISKCON Television, which has contributed money and time. Ishwar of Touchstone, who's been a real rock and foundation of ITV distribution here in India against very severe odds, I have to say, especially with the pirating that goes on here. Krishna Das and Bal Krishna, son and father, who have kept ITV going in Russia for well over a decade. Sesha, our Minister of Justice. Siddhanta, you'll find out what he gave a little bit later. Uddhava Gita, who's been back at ITV, feeding us what we need here in Mayapur to finish all of this work. And of course, Vishnu Murti Das, my dear friend, very generous soul, wonderful devotee, the head of Bhaktivedanta Library Services, who personally kicked in. So let's hear a very, very big round of Hare Vaisnava etiquette applause for these wonderful donors. And now, from the person who put all this together tonight for you, a quick preview, a rundown of one of the shows he's just come out with. Lights off, please, and let us see Anapa.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Please, Krishna, stand up and be recognized by everyone. He's operating the computer here for your enjoyment. There he is. Let's hear it for Krishna Das. Video.
Absolutely fantastic. Unbelievable.
I feel like I've just been, been to the Napa Festival and back.
Twice. Okay, our first technical award tonight is in the category of graphics. Personally, I don't know anything about how they do this magic, but I guess it's not as simple as it looks.
Well, video graphic design and execution require the sensitivity of an artist and the mind of an engineer, and it's extremely time-consuming. People have to sit for days and weeks and months at a computer, and they have to compose, and they have to be plotting and rendering and re-rendering and finalizing. Actually, mental institutions are full of ex-videographic artists, and others of them just joined the Hare Krishna movement.
And I think I know a few of them on the stage here tonight.
Hey, come on. Presenting the Nrsimhananda Award for the best graphics and special effects is His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu.
Pancharatna Prabhu Ki!
Pancharatna is responsible for almost all the black and white lectures that were recorded on vintage video equipment that he lugged around in New York and in New Vrindavan. Now, Pancharatna, how much did that equipment actually weigh?
The camera wasn't terribly heavy, but that didn't do anything. That just took the picture. You had to lug around about 20 kilos of recording decks with reel-to-reel tape. And it was a good hike up and down.
That's a bit more than the mini camcorders today. Have you suffered any back problems?
Well, I think Mayapur roads may have given me a few back problems, but it was all very, very much worth it. And I have to really I have to thank Nrsimhananda and ITV, because when I came here to Mayapur in 1976, I didn't know I was going to stay here, and I left it all behind in New York. And very fortunately, it ended in the hands of ITV, and they've done a magnificent job to make it look even better than the originals. And I'm just so glad that it still is there.
Well, I think when you see these clips, you're going to be even more impressed by what these graphic artists have done.
One Saturday evening, Bhaktivinoda is sitting on the roof of the Dharamshala in Navadvip. Across the Ganga, in the direction of Mayapur, Bhaktivinoda saw an effulgent glow. Within that divine effulgence appeared the Adbhut Mandir, a wonderful temple surrounded by light. Bhaktivinoda was utterly amazed. In Mayapur, where at night he again had a wonderful vision of the Adbhut Mandir. He spent the next day wondering.
Innumerable universes float in the causal ocean. Ganga rushes through the hole in our universe, made by Lord Vamana's toe. She pierces through the layers of covering, millions of miles of ethereal space, air, fire and water, and earth. sacred waters, called the Milky Way, arch across the heavens. Ganga passes Dhruvaloka, or the pole star, and the constellation of the seven sages. Ganga soars high above the Himalayas. With untold strength, Lord Shiva shields the earth from Ganga's forceful fall.
Господь Чайтанья Махапрабху даст им силы выполнить Его волю, принести миру любовь к Кришне. Многие ученики чувствовали, что это происходит уже сейчас. Из книги Сатсварупы Даса Госвами «Прабхупада». Громко воспевая имена Господа,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
В семье бедного брахмана Джаганатхи Мишры
сказал: давай тогда приготовим огромное количество сладкого риса. По крайней мере, мы не умрем с голоду. И мы так и сделали. Так прошли 2 дня. Мы не могли уехать, потому что взяли на себя обязательства перед интуристом. Поэтому я все время думал.
Dark. But we've been in the dark so long that we're afraid of the thought of illumination, ways of spiritualizing our existence so that we start to become aware of who we actually are. Once we are aware of who we are, then everything becomes very clear. So that is the magic of Krishna. So this Krishna conscious process is an opportunity for us to spiritualize our existence.
Lights, please.
So, as I open this will be a surprise to us all. Don't want to tear up all this money, so careful. And the winner is Mother Ganga, Ezekiel and Soul.
Please come forward, Ezekiel. Say a few words.
I would like to thank you, my sister. She didn't only help with the graphics, but she always helped me to make all the movies I made, like cooking and taking care of me when I was sick. So thank you.
Soul, a word or two?
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Prakash, what did you think of those clips?
What did I think of those clips? I'm sure it tells me here on my script. Magic! No, I thought they were absolutely wonderful. But before we get, no, I'd just like to say a little bit more. I'd never seen those clips. They were all fantastic. But I was just awestruck by the winner. Awestruck. I mean, I presume it's all shastrically correct. And if it's all shastrically correct, I was just saying to Pancharatna that maybe we should get them on the research on the cosmology for the Mayapur temple, because it looked absolutely wonderful. And it would go down really well, I'm sure. So, unbelievable. It just was incredible.
Are we surprised at how expert these devotees have become in this field?
Yeah!
And how about our most esteemed guests here, our sannyasis and senior devotees? Are you surprised at what's actually being produced these days? I got nods. I got a lot of nods. That's good. Okay.
Okay, so before we give out our next award, we want to show you a piece of video from a devotee, Lochan Das, who passed away, but left a legacy of pioneering Krishna-conscious puppetry in video long before there was any of the sophisticated software for graphics that we just saw. Lochan Prabhu, this is in your honor. Lights down, please.
Jaya Jagannath, 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 Jaya Jagannath.
This Rath Yatra festival is very dear to me from my very childhood days. So, I very much appreciate your holding this festival.
This lady has just told me, and I think it's an important piece of information, is that the devotee's name is Lokanath.
Oh, Lokanath.
And Lokanath did not pass away. It was his wife Maharani who passed away, and it was Maharani's work. That was Maharani's work.
Okay, well, we had that one completely wrong. But I appreciate the correction. Now, presenting the Nrsimhananda Award for Best Sound Editing is Mayapur's own sound editing maven. That is our beloved Krishna Prema. Please welcome Krishna Prema.
Me being such a Philistine on these subjects, could you perhaps explain a little bit what sound editing actually is?
Sound editing is it's an art. It's very complex. And also it takes a lot of equipment, and it takes a lot of sensitivity, and so it's a very important part of the making a movie. They say that it's actually 75% of the quality of the movie is given by the sound. So, yeah. So obviously sounds also in our vision of philosophy, it is important because it's part of the creation of the universe. So the Shraddha vibration is very important, and considering that apart from few examples in the past, the production that we have made in our movement, they didn't have so much of a great quality sound. This is an improvement certainly that goes to Nrsimhananda Prabhu, who wanted to do this, and that will be, we're looking forward to see some good sound production for the future.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. The nominees are
В своей жизни я была какой-то период членом партии. Дедушка был первым ленинцем. Когда он умирал, он попросил меня: внучка, ты знаешь, что бы я хотела? Чтобы ты продолжила, чтобы тоже была коммунистом. Помня просьбу деда и, собственно говоря, в жизни ища, хотелось, думаешь, неужели где-то нет уголка и общество того, где царит справедливость, и где люди борются за то, чтобы людям лучше жилось на земле. Вот, я подала заявление в партию. В дальнейшем выбрали даже в обком партии, не в обком, а в бюро партии издательства. Ну вот здесь-то, знаете, как бы немножко и приоткрылась занавесь. Что же это на самом деле? Все внутреннее. Вот оно казалось настолько гнилым, где все построено на взяточничестве, на коррупции, где царит разврат, и тебе нужно по должности, если что-то нужно, продвинуться ли что, то ты должен посчитаться где-то со своей целомудростью. И в это время я встретилась с книгами Шрилы Прабхупады.
Just how many, but for the whole of northern Sumatra, where Aceh is, it's estimated today that there is over 45,000, could climb to 80,000.
The quake measured 8.9 on the Richter scale, the biggest in the world for 40 years.
Agreed by the army, government, but also there's patches that are controlled by the Tamil Tigers. And we went through so many government checkpoints. They come and look at our vehicle and see this and that. We went through Tamil Tiger areas where they'd also check in to see who we are and what we're doing. So, and the areas you couldn't walk out of the car because there's landmines everywhere. There's signs. Watch out! Don't go here. Landmines. There's humanitarian organizations trying to get them out. In the spiritual world, there are no tsunamis.
Okay. I think next year you can take it over.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare.
It is our glory if we spend our life and soul and our whole life on glorifying God, glorifying the Holy Lord, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Prabhupada. Everybody sing and dance. Dance for Krishna. Haribo. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru
Krishna is in every cell of mine. He never lets you down in any circumstance. Whereas loving a human will only end in pain. Anyway, I'm going to be a traveling monk soon.
A traveling monk? What is a traveling monk?
A traveling monk brings rain wherever she goes.
I really admire you, you know? You could make so much money in this world, but you live like a simple life and be happy.
My boss is Srila Prabhupada, and I like the work he's given to me. Simply distribute happiness through my master's books and see the world too.
I think that's a good idea. Traveling when you're young, see the world, see a different way of life. Do you think I can come with you?
Yeah, sure. I knew you would like to. But you have to teach me French for that.
Of course, mademoiselle.
Let's see what Krishna has for us. Anyway, Julius, tell me something about your mom.
My mom. She's a nice person, you know, but it's like this lake, you know. She's over there, I'm over here. We don't really keep in touch since I've been in prison.
Do you miss her?
So much. So much.
Why did you go to prison?
The enthusiasm of the devotees spreads as they move as close as possible to the deity on her palanquin. The small face of the deity of Mother Ganga smiles at the loving care and attention of her devotees. This deity of King Bhagirat marks the place where he fasted and prayed for Ganga to descend from heaven to relieve his ancestors of reactions from their past misdeeds. Mother Ganga, pleased by King Bhagirat's penance, came before him and asked, "When I fall to the surface of the planet Earth, the water will be very forceful. Who will sustain that force?"
I understand Mother Prabhu is now here, so Nrsimhananda Prabhu will take it in behalf of Mother Lisa. I'll give my 2 cents also. You may wonder, in many ways, I'm amazed that the judges gave Madhavisa this award because they probably didn't know the full extent of the problems with the sounds that we've had of these archival tapes of Srila Prabhupada. What you heard is such a vast improvement, the clarity and the balance and everything about the sound. This man worked for 3 years in front of many computer screens on the Srila Prabhupada DVD project. It actually was incredible how much time, 14, 15 hours a day, that he put into this job, and I am very humbled to accept this award on behalf of this very humble and very dedicated brahmachari. So Madhavisa, this is yours. You deserve it. Haribol. We are requesting Jagajivan Prabhu, who has a background, it's really back now, a background in film. I'm not quite sure exactly what.
I made this film about our activities in South America or Puerto Rico. And I took the film to Srila Prabhupada to show him. So I set everything up and I showed it to him in his room. And Prabhupada looked at this film, he was concentrating on this film, you know. And then he said, show this film to the GBC. I don't know if we ever showed it to the GBC, but he probably liked it very much, you know.
You can show it next year.
Yeah. Some, if you remember the crocodile opening the mouth, Prabhupada walking and mentioning it, I filmed that in Caracas. Did some filming myself. So the
সুজনার বুদ্ধরাধিত পাদ যুগং যুগং ধর্মধুরান্ধর পাত্র বারং সুজনার বুদ্ধরাধিত পাদ যুগং যুগং ধর্মধুরান্ধর পাত্র বারং বরদাভয়দায়ক পূজ্য পদ प्रणमामि सदा प्रभुपाद पदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभुपाद पदं प्रणमामि सदा प्रभुपाद पदं
Jeep Jago, Gora Chanda Bole, Kota Nidro Jau, Maya Pisa Chirakole, Baji Bobolia, Esse Sansara Bitare, Buliaro Hile Tumi Abitara Bare, Tomarella Ita Abi Hoinu Abadara, Ami Bina Bandu Adake Acheto Mara, Energy Osadi Maya Nasi Baralagi, Harinama Maha Mantrola Tumi Magi, Noche Tanya's moon is rising, Noche Tanya's moon is rising, no it's not at all surprising. Jamming in the street, telling everyone we meet, we going home.
The winner is, okay, my Hare Krishna family, Little Goku.
Haribo!
Haribo!
So this is Shastra Das, who was one of the featured players in that wonderful video.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
So, on behalf of ISKCON Africa Yatra, I'm very happy and grateful that our little film, the documentary film My Hare Krishna Family, eventually won an award. And I'm so touched, and I feel so humbled to stand before the great congregation of devotees and the gurus, that the preaching in Africa is very difficult. I remember last year when I met Nrsimhananda Prabhu, and I gave him a video clip on one of our Food for Life program. He made a statement that as far as ISKCON is concerned, Africa is undiscovered continent. And I'm very happy now that with our little effort, through the mercy of my Guru Dev Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, His Holiness Kavichanda Swami, and His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami, my Hare Krishna family is actually gaining ground. Thank you very much.
Now, before we give our next award, we're going to take a moment of some serious reflection. There was a devotee in Los Angeles. He made a beautiful, very simple video. It's called Requiem for a Devotee. And I wanted to share that with you tonight. We found it very, very moving. It's about 5 minutes only. It's a meditation. And we found it anyway very extraordinary. It's not up for any award, but it's something we wanted to just present for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas.
There is no question of that. Then if you say we are seeing that devotees are dying, yes, But death has been stopped. And still why is dying? He's not dying. He's going back to home, back to God. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna